Chapter 21. Instant kill of the demigod, the three Sannin are shocked. Two people. Hanzo cast a quick, startled glance, but he didn't panic at all. He was the ninja who stood at the summit of the Shinobi World in that era, called a demigod by other ninja. Do you think the title, demigod, is a joke? Madara, Hashirama, isn't it? Quote question mark exclamation mark quote. When Hanzo was preparing to use body flicker to evade, launch a furious counterattack on the two intruders, and show the intruders what a demigod truly was. Hanzo realized something terrifying. Just as he was about to form seals for body flicker, he found his hands moving out of his control. And his hands began to twist. Sorry, you were too close to the summoning beast earlier. From a distance, Makoto met his gaze calmly. Ability transmissibility. Poison gas touches poison gas. Controlled. Poison gas touches a summoned beast. Controlled. But earlier, on the summoned beast, it could only be controlled. Makoto extended her nerve control outward onto Hanzo. Not only his movement trajectory was manipulated, even the shape of his body. Die. Makoto forcibly altered the shape of Hanzo's body. As if an invisible giant hand began to contort Hanzo's body. At that instant, Kushina's explosive orb struck. Ah! I haven't even married a wife. Hanzo of the Salamander let out a roar, full of unwillingness. A demigod, yet before he could display his power, he was beaten to death by two little girls. After all, battles in the Shinobi World are battles of intelligence. If you don't understand the enemy's abilities, anyone can be instantly killed. Boom! The spirit particle bomb fell upon the head of the contorted Hanzo, blasting his skull to pieces. The demigod died with his eyes unclosed. Lo, Lord Hanzo. Could it be genjutsu? I don't believe it. Lord Hanzo can't be dead. The Omegakure ninja avoiding the poison mist in the distance had been ready to admire the demigod's prowess. But the moment Hanzo died, everyone's minds went blank. Know that Omegakure was built by Hanzo of the Salamander. In the hearts of Omegakure, Hanzo's status was akin to Konoha's Senju Hashirama. He led the shinobi of the Land of Rain to rise and gain a breathing space among the great nations. At his peak, even Sarutobi Hiruzen and Onoki had to treat him cautiously. In that era, Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru together couldn't beat him and were bestowed a title that seemed glorious but was actually humiliating, the Three Sannin. Such a Hanzo was slain by Kushina and Makoto. They had only just faced off for a single exchange. Who would dare believe it if word got out? Salamander Hanzo, let's have our decisive battle. Just then, Jiraiya's loud shout came from afar, accompanied by the sound of a large unit advancing. But Omegakure paid the Konoha shinobi no mind at all. Every ninja glared at Kushina and Makoto with extreme fury and charged together. Kill. Kill them. Ah. Avenge Lord Hanzo. The collapse of their faith drove Omegakure's shinobi mad, rushing at the two girls in a frenzy. Seeing this, Uchiha Makoto said calmly, mission accomplished. Don't get entangled. Go. Kushina instinctively glanced toward the distant Konoha main force, clenched her fist, and then left together with Makoto. Sister Tsunade. Soar. Quote. What's the situation? The Konoha shinobi stared blankly as the Omegakure ninja went mad and charged into the distance. We were ready to die in battle, this is what we get to see. Jiraiya scratched his head first, then burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, as expected, they were scared of me, the sage Jiraiya, early on. Shut up, idiot. Tsunade was rather solemn. She stared intently in the direction where Kushina had left. That flowing red hair felt strangely familiar. No, Kushina had changed too much. From a cute little tomato-faced loli to a refined red-haired beauty. At 1.70 m with long legs, she was noticeably taller than Tsunade. Orochimaru observed the battlefield, his eyes suddenly narrowed. There, Hanzo's corpse. Quote question mark exclamation mark. SS's. Jiraiya and Tsunade looked and instantly sucked in a breath of cold air. There was no mistake. Though headless, the attire, and the furious shouts of Omegakure just now, confirmed it. Who did this? Gulp. The Konoha shinobi did not feel joy, instead, a chill rose in their hearts. That was a demigod. Who killed him with so many Reinin present? Could it have been those two stunning girls who just left? On a small hill not far from the battlefield. The scene just now entered Lucian's eyes as well as those of the three kids. Their eyes were wide at the moment, full of shock. Did we just see that? Two explosions in a row, then Hanzo of the Salamander began releasing poison. And then. No, there was no, then. That gentle big sister Makoto raised a hand and suppressed the giant summoned beast, they couldn't even see the technique. Kushina casually tossed an energy sphere and blew up the dazed, motionless Hanzo. The whole process took less than half a minute. A demigod. Wouldn't that mean, invincible, gulp. Yahiko's exclamation drew nods from Konan and Nagato. In their minds, Hanzo was the strongest existence. Then the two women who so easily killed Hanzo, didn't they rival the legendary god of shinobi? Lucian spoke flatly, it's just an intelligence mismatch. Still far off. Is that so? Lord Lucian is amazing. Listening to Lucian, the three kids were both astonished and full of admiration. The two big sisters had trained only 3 months and were already that strong. As expected of Lord Lucian, truly godlike. Children, children. Lucian finally understood why Orochimaru liked to abduct children. Because children are so pure, a blank sheet on which you can write at will. 3 comments 0 vote. Chapter 22. Quincy Cross Blade, Lucian's sword pressure. For Kushina and Makoto's performance, Lucian had to give praise. They did things cleanly without dragging their feet, and without pointless chatter. Lucian was satisfied. If the two of them needed to kill someone but started rambling or had a sudden saintly change of heart, Lucian would have considered replacing them. Intelligence truly matters. As for those who, in battle, can't help but spill every detail of their abilities. Lucian had only 2 words, idiots. Not good, Lord Lucian, Sister Kushina and Sister Makoto have run into trouble. Konan cried out, and Lucian looked as well. While Kushina and Makoto were pulling away from the frenzied Omegakure shinobi, an unexpected interception occurred during their retreat. An Iwagakure unit. Jiraiya and Tsunade's earlier sense hadn't been wrong. The reason Hanzo had kept stalling instead of going to a decisive battle was to ally with Iwagakure and wipe out the Konoha forces in one strike. At some point the Iwa unit had arrived, planning to jump in right after both sides clashed, which would have been deadly for Konoha's troops. Stop hiding and get out here. Facing dozens of Iwa ninja ahead, Kushina barked coldly. What a hot-tempered little girl. A sturdy middle-aged man in a purple combat suit, with purple hair, stepped out from behind the rocks. Behind him loomed a mass of at least 2,000 Iwa shinobi. Iwagakure's 4-Tails Jinchuriki, Roshi. Though later Roshi would leave the village over differences with Onoki and become a wandering monk. Right now Roshi was top-tier fighting power for Iwa. Like the 5-Tails Jinchuriki Han, both were famed powerhouses of this era. Roshi squinted at the two women, then his voice sank. Before I could even react, Hanzo was killed. I have to admit. Damn it. However ambitious Hanzo might be, he could only huddle in Omegakure bullying the land of iron. So, by cooperating with Hanzo, a single core might have crushed Konoha at minimal cost. But just now, before he could spring from hiding among the rocks, their partner Hanzo died. It made Roshi seethe. Waiting for Konoha and Omegakure to finish fighting before entering is not the same as charging in directly, and the losses would skyrocket. I don't like bullying women. Before I lose my temper, leave at once. Otherwise, After all, they were both strong, and Roshi did not relish provoking powerful enemies from Konoha. But those words made Kushina laugh in anger, eyes widening. Otherwise, let me tell you, Lord Lucian is waiting for me to return and report. A guy oozing purple haze like you, I can kill 100 with one punch. Hateful, this woman was so fierce. Roshi felt his rage surge and was about to strike when hearty laughter sounded from afar. Ha ha ha, what perfect timing, beauties. The Konoha shinobi had stopped fighting Omegakure, and Jiraiya laughed loudly. Orochimaru and Tsunade followed close, staring hard at the Iwa who had appeared. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Jiraiya glanced at Kushina and Makoto, then looked to Roshi. So it's you, the 4-Tails Jinchuriki Roshi. What a coincidence, and how sneaky. HMPH. If you want to fight, then fight. Spare me the nonsense. Roshi's temper was foul. As he spoke, unbearably scorching chakra surged over him like molten rock. Tsunade frowned. Jiraiya, didn't you hear clearly? Quote. Jiraiya blinked, momentarily blank. Orochimaru, however, smiled wickedly. The one she reports to is Lucian. Lucian. Demon King Lucian. Jiraiya and Roshi were both startled. Jiraiya knew well how strong Lucian was. The legend of Demon King Lucian had thundered through the Shinobi World. Roshi had heard it to the point of numbness. After all, that 30 billion Ryo bounty was madness, enough to make even Roshi itch to try. The first month it shook the entire Shinobi World. By the second month, war had broken out and the commotion quieted somewhat. By now, fewer people paid attention to Lucian, since the Second Great War was the main stage. Most of all, no one could find Lucian. Even Kakuzu was going crazy. Kakuzu, Lucian, come out. Give me a drop of blood to hand over to Konoha, and we split the profit, how about it? A long-running business. All of it money. Lord Lucian. Watching from afar as Kushina and Makoto stood at the center of three sides, the three kids were extremely anxious. Konoha, Yhwach, aim, nearly 10,000 people. Quincy cross blade. Before the astonished gazes of the three children, Lucian raised his hand and drew a jet-black longsword from the void. It emitted a gleam that made the soul tremble. Ordinary Quincy's can use a Quincy cross to summon a bow, but Lucian's Quincy cross summoned a black blade. It could cut souls and release slashes of immense destructive power. Hanzo is dead. This country will belong to me as well. Looking down at the Yhwach and Konoha shinobi on the mountainside, Lucian slowly raised his blade. A terrifying aura washed out, and he swung. Sword pressure. Before the three kids' horrified eyes, the slashing wave unleashed by Lucian's strike was unspeakably dreadful. It stretched for over 1,000 meters, like a colossal star flash, erupting with overwhelming might as it tore forward. Rip. The air split in an instant with rolling thunder, startling every shinobi awake. They looked up and all were stunned. That moonbright descending slash made everyone feel a mortal crisis. Kushina and Makoto started in alarm and flashed straight into the shadow domain. Boom. 3 comments 0 vote. Chapter 23. 1/Cleft and Abyss, Roshi's Fury. But their ninja were not so lucky. Aside from a few powerhouses like Orochimaru and Roshi who used body flicker to dodge, the rest of the shinobi were all enveloped within the range of the slash. Ah! Countless screams rang out almost simultaneously. The colossal slash was not only terrifying in might, it was fast as lightning, cleaving across the battlefield in an instant. A narrow, ferocious ravine appeared in the earth, and the ninja closest to the slash died on the spot. Those not far away were invaded by the dreadful edge and tossed by an extremely violent shockwave. Peef. Even Jiraiya and the others who had body flickered away suffered heavy injuries. Within that raging gust was an undefendable spiritual pressure that made even the soul feel torn. The aftershock of the slash did not diminish. After ripping through Iwagakur's position, it surged on toward Konoha and Omegakure behind. Sweeping forward as if it had no end. It became a storm that crushed everything. Ah! Countless screams rose again, as life was reaped mercilessly like by a death god's scythe. The ground split apart with thunderous roars, and only after who knew how long did it slowly subside. The whole battlefield fell silent. The surviving ninja were shaken, terror in their eyes. Lord Lucian. The hearts of the three children were shaken to the core. From the mountaintop it was even clearer. Looking out, the land was blood-red. Most of the shinobi flung away by the aftermath were in pieces or unconscious, and only a scant few were half-kneeling on the ground. Not only that, even straining to look into the distance, they still could not see the end of that ravine. A vast, narrow chasm had appeared along the border of the two countries, forming a terrifying abyss that split them apart. Over 100 meters wide, and dozens of li long. A canyon that shook the shinobi world. Later, countless people would call it the Imperial Grand Canyon. It would commemorate the first slash by His Majesty, the great emperor of the Invisible Empire, that shook the shinobi world. Not bad. It was also Lucian's first time unleashing sword pressure at full power. With the Quincy Cross Blade's blessing, though he had only just stepped into the Super Cage tier. It was enough to cleave an island with a single strike. The manga never truly showed how powerful sword pressure is. In that series, battles are all about abilities, living off spiritual pressure, and the top fighters are simply too fast. Such wideria sword pressure can hardly cut down top-tier foes, so it's not that practical. But it's more than enough for clearing out small fry. Swish. Lucian brought the three children down to the ground. That terrifying ravine still held a keen spiritual force, and the three did not dare approach. Wow, amazing, Lord Lucian. Kushina and Makoto emerged from the shadow domain, marveling at the bottomless chasm. With that kind of destructive power, who could withstand it if they didn't dodge? Lucian's eyelid twitched slightly. Calling it amazing, he certainly was, but the word choice felt off. Ah. Damn it, damn it. Blown away, Roshi's eyes were blood-red. The descending slash had not only torn the earth, it had torn through Iwa's ranks. Some were cut down directly, more were ripped apart alive by the sweeping storm. So many dead, Roshi's rage was understandable. That monster has grown stronger again. The remaining Konoha shinobi stared at Lucian in fear, and even Jiraiya and the others were utterly silent. This speed of growth brought despair. If that slash had come down vertically on Konoha just now, it could have cleaved the village open. Even if it were split, you could fill it back in. But if it had slashed from the side, how many would still be alive then? At the thought of such a scene, Jiraiya and the others even lost the courage to attack, afraid of provoking Lucian's wrath. At last, I meet you again. Orochimaru glanced at Lucian, then lowered his head, his body shaking beyond control. It was not fear, but unspeakable excitement and thrill. Immortality stood before him. Yet Orochimaru was extremely proud. Of course, one could not be proud before Lucian, that would be courting death. He needed one or more great gifts to earn a chance to follow Lucian, not kneel on the ground and beg for alms. He had prepared 2 great gifts, but it still felt a bit lacking. Tsunade. Orochimaru looked at the youthful, radiant Tsunade, as if she might also be a gift. Tsunade was the goddess in the hearts of countless in Konoha. Born of the Senju clan, granddaughter of the first Hokage, disciple of the third Hokage, among the younger generation of Konoha, none held a more exalted status. In her early 20s now, she was at her most beautiful. Yes, Lord Lucian will surely like it. Lucian, what kind of twisted idea is that? Orochimaru, look around you. If you don't like beauties, who would believe it? Of course, Lucian did not know what Orochimaru was thinking. Otherwise, he would definitely have said. Utterly depraved. Lava release chakra mode. Terrifying 4-tails chakra erupted as Roshi's body was shrouded in high-temperature magma. He became like a humanoid volcano, the ground beneath his feet melting. Furious, Roshi attacked directly. Lava release, scorching river of flowing lava. Multiple magma spheres spewed from his mouth. The very air burned away with white smoke. With such super high temperature attacks, an ordinary ninja would die on contact. Impudent. Kushina and Makoto snapped coldly. Raising their hands, massive spiritual arrows shot forth. Chapter 24. Spiritual pressure kills the 4-tails Jinchuriki. Swoosh. 2 medium holy arrows were fired straight out. Makoto's holy arrow blasted apart all the incoming magma spheres, and Kushina's holy arrow followed right after, striking Roshi in an instant. With a boom, a hole was blown through Roshi's abdomen. Immediately, 4-tails chakra gushed out. Under astonished gazes, his abdomen healed at high speed. Roar. Agonized pain and grief drove Roshi half-mad, and a beast-like howl tore from his throat. Waves of searing chakra kept surging from his body. Roshi entered partial-tailed beast transformation, retaining human form while sprouting 4 tails, wrapped in a dark red-tailed beast cloak. A black-purple-tailed beast bomb began to gather in his mouth. Not good, a tailed beast bomb. Sensing the destructive energy within it, Jiraiya and the others fell back, even instinctively looking to Lucian. Should we have the subordinates strike or not? If he makes a move, do we evade, if we take it head-on? In any case, Jiraiya and the others never took their eyes off Lucian, this was all intelligence. At this moment, Lucian signaled the 2 women to stop and began calmly instructing. Remember, if one spiritual entity's spiritual pressure is clearly stronger than that of the surrounding spiritual entities, it will overawe them so they cannot move. The gap in spiritual pressure between individuals must be large. The side with the weaker tolerance for spiritual pressure may even be unable to withstand the stronger pressure and die on the spot. So, as his deep voice sounded, the man called the Demon King lifted his gaze, casual and unhurried. In an instant, a vast pressure descended. A terrifying, invisible energy swept out like a torrential downpour. Bang! To the shock of all, the forming tailed beast bomb shattered at once, as if struck by an unseen force. Next, Roshi's body halted. He froze like a fool where he stood, and in an instant his soul collapsed. A moment later, he crashed to the ground. Gurgle gurgle. That fearsome tailed beast chakra seemed unable to accept it. It surged madly as if to save Roshi, but it was useless. With Roshi's death, the tailed beast chakra slowly dissipated. Hiss. At the sight, the remaining shinobi trembled all over. An enemy being strong is not what's terrifying. What's terrifying is this silent, traceless power that killed outright without anyone even seeing an attack. Looking at Roshi's lifeless eyes, unclosed and filled with fear and despair, it was as if someone had hit pause. Everyone's breath stopped. Such a fragile soul. Spiritual power, like chakra, is energy, spiritual pressure is the density and strength of the soul. In Lucian's view, aside from a few, the spiritual pressure of the Shinobi World's ninja was far too weak. Swish. Lucian flashed to stand before Roshi and pressed one hand hard to his forehead. Dissipate. Not if I have anything to say about it. The death of a Jinchuriki causes the tailed beast to die as well, but it will be reborn. As life forms condensed of chakra, their consciousness will reconsolidate after a period. But before Lucian, the tailed beast's consciousness, more precisely, its soul energy, could not escape. Roar roar roar. The soul of the four tails, Son Goku, was clutched in Lucian's grasp, howling in unwilling terror. It felt the fatal death, the kind from which there would be no revival. What is he doing? Jiraiya and the others were stunned. Except in special circumstances, they could not see souls. In their eyes, Lucian was gripping empty air, and they had no idea what he was doing. Yet his aura invisibly grew stronger, chilling them. SSSSSSSSS. In a distant corner, a figure suffused in green appeared, looking like a branch-like creature. The branches slowly opened, revealing a tall, thin silhouette with a human face. The face was half black and half white, eerie in the extreme. Wah! The Jinchuriki died. That jutsu didn't even need hand seals. So jealous. Shut up. Say one more word and I'll cut you down. White Zetsu's clamor darkened Black Zetsu's face even more, while a storm surged in Black Zetsu's heart. As a millennia-old schemer, Black Zetsu prided himself on broad knowledge, with a grasp of all sorts of messy jutsu. But Lucian unleashing a terrifying attack without even lifting an eyelid surprised him. If the attack alone merely surprised him, the unknown energy within it instantly put him on high alert. Energy. Soul. Definitely not chakra. The face that usually wore a sinister smile was now exceedingly grave. Because he sensed a threat of death from that energy. Especially that sword pressure slash just now. Brush against it and die, it made him not dare approach. After all, he was a product of Kagaya's will. In theory only 6 paths level yin-yang release could harm him, yet that energy contained no trace of yin-yang release. Lucian. After searching so long, had he found such a terror? Damn it, even the Four-Tails Jinchuriki is dead. Black Zetsu was angry. When a Jinchuriki dies, the tailed beast dies too, who knew when it would revive, or where it would hide. But what Black Zetsu did not know was that the Four Tails and the Nine Tails would not revive again. That person is dangerous. I'm keeping my distance. Hearing this, White Zetsu was quite surprised. Wow, little black bro, first time I've seen you so cautious. Does that guy take more dumps than others? Black Zetsu glared. Get lost. Great. I never liked sticking together anyway. You never bathe. Shut up, idiot. 1 comments 0 vote. Chapter 25. Tsunade recognizes Kushina. Black Zetsu's sinister gaze turned toward Lucian. More precisely, toward the space behind Lucian. There stood 3 children, eyes full of shock, fear, and worship. The leftmost boy, who kept his head lowered with red hair covering his eyes, suddenly looked up. Within his terror, ripple-like light purple pupils appeared. The eye that governs life and death, yin and yang, the Rinnegan. Trouble ahead. Black Zetsu felt heavy-hearted. It had only been a few years since the Rinnegan was transplanted. Madara's successor had not been found, so Black Zetsu had been secretly watching over the red-haired boy to prevent accidents. Who could have known that after leaving for half a day, such an accident would occur? Damn it, how could things go south this fast? Black Zetsu cursed inwardly, racking his brains for a way to take Nagato away. Just then, Lucian lifted his eyes to the side, and an overwhelming pressure descended, making Black Zetsu tense all over. Bad, run. Boom. As Black Zetsu and White Zetsu burrowed into the ground, a small holy arrow shot down in an instant, blasting a deep pit in the earth. A faint cry of pain drifted out. Escaped. Lucian glanced once and did not mind it. That gloomy spiritual entity paired with a wisp of obscure will needed no guessing to be the dutiful son Black Zetsu. In most ways he was ordinary, but in the art of running away he was first in the Shinobi world. As for Black Zetsu, Lucian did not dislike him. In a world ruled by power, there is no good or evil. A dutiful son saves his mother and kills or deceives some along the way. Whose hands are not stained with blood? Of course, that premise holds only if Black Zetsu does not oppose him. Otherwise he must die. Conan. I'm here, Lord Lucian. The future cool-tempered angel was now a sweet little loli, soft and adorable. Conan nodded her little head and stole a glance at Lucian, then lowered her blushing face, her voice syrupy. Ah, Lord Lucian was too charming. Not only Konan, Yahiko and Nagato were dizzy inside as well. Yes, Lucian's existence was like that of a god, calmly annihilating any foe. Lucian did not fit in with those silly shinobi at all. I will grant you power, but to follow me, power alone is not enough. Makoto will remain. You have 3 days to gather all military forces in the land of rain and soothe the populace. All who resist are to be killed without mercy. As his words fell, Lucian's voice, born on Reishi, spread across the land of rain, making countless people think they were hallucinating. From this moment, the land of rain belonged to Lucian. Yes, Lord Lucian. The 3 children were thrilled. It is in human nature to revere the strong and yearn for power. They wanted to become as strong as Kushina and Makoto and share Lucian's burdens. When Makoto left with the 3, only Lucian, Kushina, and a few like Jiraiya remained. Ah, haha, well, ahem. Jiraiya gave a dry laugh, his thoughts in disarray. If Lucian acted, everyone would die. The one who will bring great reform to the shinobi world. Within these months, Jiraiya had returned to Mount Myoboku once, first to study sage mode, and second to hear the Great Toad Sage's view of Lucian. The Great Toad Sage spoke only a few broken lines. Because Konoha faces calamity, the shinobi world will undergo great reform. Sage, is Konoha destroyed? I only vaguely heard the words 5 a rated tourist attraction. Nothing more could be seen. Quote. 5 a rated tourist attraction. What was that? For the common folk of the shinobi world, it is enough to eat their fill. Shinobi struggle to live. Nobles do not dare travel outside their own nations. The concept of tourist attractions did not exist in Jiraiya's mind. A place to travel. But what did 5 a rated mean? Jiraiya's head was a muddle, yet he understood that the conflict between Lucian and Konoha could not be reconciled. Kushina. Tsunade's attention was entirely on the red-haired beauty, who looked more familiar the more she looked, and she could not help but speak. Kushina, is that you? When she saw Kushina instinctively avert her gaze, a little at a loss, Tsunade understood. It really is, but. Tsunade now doubted her life. Where did that little loli go? She was already almost bigger than me now. Fine. When Tsunade was young, she was not that big. Her later development was not exactly normal. Too big is not necessarily good. It is easy to cause, ahem. Kushina. Uzumaki Kushina. Jiraiya was dumbfounded. Such a big child, who could believe it? But since Lucian had gone from a child to an adult in a blink, Orochimaru's heart pounded even harder. It was not only his own life he could manipulate. Could he also manipulate others' lives? Truly. He could truly grant me immortality. Interesting. Seeing everyone's bewildered faces, Lucian felt amused. Especially Tsunade. Hey, where are you looking? Chaotic thoughts. Women's minds are indeed unusual. Me. Kushina took a deep breath and met their eyes coldly. Listen well. I was never a Konoha person. I only lived there a few years. From today on, I have no connection to Konoha. Anyone who dares to stand against Lord Lucian is my mortal enemy. 2 comments 0 vote. Chapter 26. A backstab from Orochimaru. Hearing this, Tsunade opened her mouth, bitterness rising. Whether sincere or not, Kushina could never go back. If she returned, she would surely face suspicion and confinement. Better to follow Lucian, it felt safe. Lucian looked over. Little girl, who are you giving that cold face to? It doesn't suit you at all. So annoying. Kushina puffed her cheeks. She had been a cheerful, lively girl, close with Tsunade. Suddenly putting on a cold face as an enemy felt very unnatural. Lucian said calmly, I know you and Makoto still miss Konoha, don't rush to deny it. Seeing Kushina flustered, Lucian went on. After all, you had a home there, some friends or family. Human feelings are hard to control. But, longing alone is enough. Lord Lucian, Kushina was a little at a loss. In Kushina and Makoto's eyes, Lucian was aloof yet spoke kindly, even allowing some less than proper acts. But they also knew Lucian still regarded them as his people. If they ever betrayed him, the coldest strike would follow. Do I usually look that cold and heartless? No, not at all. Kushina's expression turned pitiful. When Lucian's frosty gaze shifted to Jiraiya and the others, they grew extremely wary. After all, they were enemies, they didn't dare hope Lucian would let them go. Let enemies go. That didn't seem Lucian's way. At that moment, something shocking happened. Orochimaru, standing behind Tsunade, took a small step forward, no one paid it any mind. Then he raised his hand, chakra wrapping it, and chopped down hard. Forgive me, Tsunade. Thud. Tsunade's head tilted, disbelief flashing in her eyes, and she collapsed unconscious. Orochimaru. Jiraiya was even more stunned, he had just watched Orochimaru attack. Slash. The Kusanagi flashed, and Jiraiya dropped to one knee in pain. A hideous gash split his abdomen, blood pouring uncontrollably, yet the pain in his body was not a fraction of the hurt in his heart. Orochi, are you going to kill me? The war in the land of rain is my last chance for cooperation. The wicked smile on Orochimaru's face froze into ice, his narrow serpent eyes grew even colder. Kushina was dumbfounded, weren't they comrades? Then she glanced at the indifferent Lucian, stepped forward to lift the unconscious Tsunade, and watched the show. Lucian also watched, even shaping a throne from spiritual power and sitting down. Hidden shadow snake hands. Orochimaru did not stop. With a single-handed sweep, several giant serpents shot from his sleeve. Jiraiya flashed aside and roared, "Are you insane, Orochimaru, why are you doing this?" "Why?" Orochimaru murmured, as if asking himself, then answered with certainty. "I'm not insane. I'm seeking the truth, one that requires me to abandon everything to be worthy of pursuing it. Run. Flee in disgrace. Go back and tell the third Hokage. The past me belonged to Konoha, the future me belongs to the invisible empire." Jiraiya's body trembled. He looked at Lucian, then at the merciless Orochimaru, and felt the whole world turn dark. Why must it be like this? Jiraiya roared, venting his grief and fury. Never had there been such a day. The man who had been his companion since he was 6, the man who once took a blade for him, would backstab him. More than 10 years of laughter and tears. Scenes flashed through his mind, each more painful than the last. Drip, drip. Tears traced his cheeks, the color left Jiraiya's eyes. "Sensei, you never taught me what to do in a moment like this. What should I do? Ha ha ha, so this is how a man grows." Jiraiya gave a miserable laugh, stared hard at the indifferent Orochimaru for a few seconds. Then glanced at the unconscious Tsunade in Kushina's arms, gritted his teeth, and decisively turned and sprinted away. For a moment, the world fell silent. To pursue my dream is my right. Orochimaru watched Jiraiya's receding back in silence for a few seconds. Then he sheathed the Kusanagi, lightly straightened his clothes, and walked toward Lucian step by step. So ruthless. Kushina stayed on guard, set Tsunade down, and took a battle stance. Lucian waved a hand slightly and watched Orochimaru approach. Orochimaru drew 2 scrolls from behind, half-knelt, and raised them with both hands as he spoke with respect. "Please forgive me for privately letting Jiraiya go. Someone must carry the message to proclaim your greatness. I bring gifts for you. I hope they please you, Lord Lucian. And please, accept my fealty." Lucian looked Orochimaru over carefully. A wise choice. Letting Jiraiya go was purely personal sentiment, but Lucian didn't mind. Jiraiya could not affect the larger situation. Taking the scrolls, Lucian glanced at them and was slightly surprised. The labels on the scrolls read, "Scroll of Seals, First Hokage's Cells." Though these were useless to Lucian, this is the Shinobi World, not the world of death gods. It's impossible for everyone in the empire to cultivate reishi. Their value was immense. Most importantly, Orochimaru had put real thought into it. 1 comments 0 vote. Chapter 27. Jiraiya's God-tier line of thought. You should know, the Scroll of Seals is in the Hokage's office. Orochimaru might have been able to view it. But taking it out of the Hokage's office is difficult, carrying it out of Konoha is even harder. Danzo's maneuvering must have been involved. But Danzo would never have expected Orochimaru to take the Scroll of Seals, follow Lucian, and defect outright. Otherwise, Danzo would spit out 8 caddies of blood in one go. Looking at Tsunade in Kushina's arms, Lucian couldn't help asking, "This woman?" "Lord Lucian, Tsunade is the first Hokage's granddaughter, the third Hokage's disciple, and a medical ninjutsu master who can offer you some small help. Please rest assured, I guarantee Tsunade has never been touched by a man. The elite Jonin Dan who tried to harass Tsunade was killed 3 months ago." Orochimaru thought this but did not say it, since Lucian did not know who Dan was. Quote. Wow, that's the original style Orochimaru. No, exactly the kind of man I had in mind. Seeing Kushina's stunned look and the odd glint in her eyes, Lucian could only say a few calm words. Well done. As a man, one must dare to face his own heart. Power, fame, wealth, strength, beauties, eternal pursuits of men. Then Lucian found it odd. Of those 5 words, Orochimaru seemed to pursue none of them. No. In the future, the snake uncle coveted the Sharingan, wasn't that a desire for power? I know what you seek. Take the land of rain, and I will grant it. Yes, Lord Lucian. The matter just now had not yet spread. Jiraiya, sprinting through the land of fire, stopped, his eyes were utterly vacant. Why? Jiraiya muttered like a madman, the cost of growth was too great. Unlike Tsunade, who in childhood had the first Hokage to dote on her and was the princess in Konoha's heart, unlike Orochimaru, who at least was raised by his parents. Jiraiya had been unwanted, a lonely orphan. His happiest day was team assignment after graduation. He had a teacher, comrades, and countless people who cared. In his heart were Orochimaru, Tsunade, Sarutobi, and Konoha. He was willing to give everything for them, even his life. But in one day he lost 2 of the most important people, a pain that made him want to die. Who? Jiraiya. A Konoha Anbu captain spotted Jiraiya and was startled to find him there. Seeing Jiraiya so broken, as if he'd lost his soul, the Anbu had many questions. He hurriedly said, "Have you seen Orochimaru? He defected." Orochimaru, defected. Jiraiya's lifeless eyes grew dimmer, he didn't even ask why. The Anbu captain sighed. Who knows the reason? Yesterday Orochimaru stole the scroll of seals, killed several shinobi, and left the village. The enraged third immediately declared him a rogue ninja. Jiraiya. So that's how it was. Orochimaru had prepared long ago, no wonder his words had sounded so strange. Knowing he'd become a rogue ninja, he helped face Hanzo before Konoha's pursuit arrived. Orochimaru. Jiraiya suddenly laughed, baffling the Anbu. No. Suddenly Jiraiya's expression turned solemn. He and Orochimaru had been companions for over 10 years, he knew him very well. Though cold, he was truly good to his comrades. For a person to change still takes time, how could so much change happen in merely 3 months? Especially since even after defecting he immediately helped them. Even if he betrayed them, he spared a life to keep Lucian from acting. Jiraiya's train of thought seemed to tilt. Could it be? Jiraiya's eyes suddenly widened. Could Orochimaru have done it on purpose? Purposefully defected and betrayed, to go undercover at Lucian's side and obtain intel. Taking the lead, venturing alone into the tiger's den, to help Konoha find a way to deal with the great demon King Lucian. The more he thought, the more plausible it seemed, and Jiraiya grew excited. Yes, a hero. Lucian's monstrous growth defies reason, compared to that, Kumo, Suna, Iwa, and Kiri are all unimportant. Yes, that's it. Jiraiya truly deserved to be called the future eccentric of the Shinobi world. His train of thought was downright bizarre. It wasn't Jiraiya's fault, he truly didn't understand what Orochimaru wanted at his core. So he filled in the blanks, undercover work, secret agent, unsung hero, and pinned them all on Orochimaru. After all, it was a possibility. But Jiraiya, like a drowning man clutching a straw, chose to believe amidst overwhelming sorrow. Under the Anbu's stupefied gaze, Jiraiya suddenly burst into loud sobs. Wah, Orochimaru, I misunderstood, you should curse me, I'm too stupid, wah. Orochimaru, wait for me. I can't let a man suffer alone, I will too. Quote. 4 comments 0 vote. Chapter 28, Uchiha Madara. A ghost. Watching Jiraiya run off crying and making a fuss, the Anbu ninja were bewildered. But before they could react, Jiraiya ran back again and spoke quickly. Go back, tell sensei that Tsunade was captured by Lucian. Orochimaru and I are going deep into enemy territory to investigate, even if it means death. To put it simply, I've defected. Just like that. Bye-bye. Quote. The Anbu ninja were all dumbfounded. What the hell? Just as they were about to leave, Jiraiya returned again, his expression grave. Hanzo was killed by Lucian's subordinates. The Konoha forces, along with Roshi from Iwagakure leading over 2,000 ninja, and many Omegakure ninja, were all killed by Lucian. Tell sensei to be extremely careful of Lucian. He's getting stronger too fast. Remember, unless absolutely necessary, do not enter the land of rain. That is Lucian's territory. Also, tell sensei. Orochimaru is a hero. I won't be coming back. Bye-bye. Quote. The entire squad was completely baffled. Who am I? Where am I? What am I supposed to do? One ninja asked, Captain, is Lord Jiraiya defecting? The squad leader, an experienced elite jonin in his 30s, could only cough in the face of the questioning gazes from his team. You bunch of idiots, can't you see Jiraiya isn't in his right mind? Another ninja asked, still confused, so what does that mean? Get lost. How the hell should I know what he means? The Anbu elite was utterly speechless. What a mess. But if Lucian had really conquered the land of rain, then this was a major incident. Compared to pursuing Orochimaru, reporting this matter to Lord Hokage was more important. At the same time, somewhere in the ninja world. In a dark, vast, and silent underground space. There, in a bizarre scene, sat an old man in the twilight of his life, looking as if he could pass away at any moment. But from his body, an aura of looking down on everything, of absolute dominance over all creation, flowed from him. His half-open eyes stared ahead, as calm as still water. If anyone were to meet his gaze, they would see an abyss of profound and terrifying depth. The Asura of the ninja world, Uchiha Madara. Even now, his name was a taboo existence that struck fear into the hearts of all who heard it, a name no one dared to discuss. So, that child, Nagato, we've lost control of him. A slightly hoarse, deep voice sounded as Uchiha Madara looked at Black Zetsu and White Zetsu before him. He was so calm, as if nothing could fluster him. Black Zetsu did not speak. Although he had escaped in time, he was injured. Indeed, Black Zetsu could feel the lingering effects of that attack, which made his very soul ache. He didn't know how long it would take to recover. It made him understand that Lucian was an unprecedented enemy. White Zetsu, however, was trembling with fear. Lord Madara, it's not my fault. Black Zetsu insisted on looking for Lucian. I didn't want to go, but he dragged me along. As a result, we were gone for a little while, and Nagato was taken away by that monster, Lucian. Black Zetsu sneered. He's quite good at spinning tales. But Black Zetsu wasn't worried in the slightest. After all, in Madara's eyes, he was a product of his will. Would a person not even trust himself? Lucian. As if hearing this name for the first time, Uchiha Madara's eyes narrowed slightly. From White Zetsu's tone, he knew that Lucian must be a rather troublesome powerhouse. But any powerhouse should have an astonishing track record and a remarkable path of growth. Yet he had never heard of him. Something wasn't right. That's right, Lucian is a complete and utter monster. To absolve himself of responsibility, White Zetsu began to exaggerate wildly. They say that when he was born in Konoha, White Zetsu took a deep breath and shouted. Purple chi came from the east for 30,000 li, and 1,000 mountains and 10,000 rivers all cheered. He became a genin in 1 day, a chunin in 2, and reached the level of the sage of 6 paths in 3. He crippled Danzo on a whim, killed tens of thousands of Konoha ninja, snatched the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, and swaggered off. Then, wielding a watermelon knife, he slaughtered his way from Konoha to the land of rain. With every swing of his blade, he stained 3,000 li with blood and killed 1,000,000 enemies. He cut off Hanzo's head with 1 slash, annihilated the Four-Tails Jinchuriki with another, and then with a 3rd slash, he carved out an abyss that stretched for tens of thousands of li. The entire ninja world is about to collapse. At this, White Zetsu sighed with emotion. Alas, he was born in the wrong era. If he had been born a few thousand years earlier, the Sage of 6 Paths would have been irrelevant. Uchiha Madara was stunned, and Black Zetsu was also dumbfounded. What the hell? Black Zetsu wanted to kick this bastard to death. Aren't you laying it on a bit thick? Uchiha Madara was silent for a long moment before spitting out a single word. Scram. You got it. Lord Madara, you carry on. I'll be scrambling. White Zetsu flashed a sycophantic grin and, like a pug, literally rolled on the ground once before melting into the floor, fleeing underground as fast as he could. Meeting Madara's gaze, Black Zetsu said gravely, Lucian is indeed miraculous. He then relayed everything he knew. Uchiha Madara listened to every word. Even with all his experience, a flicker of surprise appeared in his eyes. If Black Zetsu was not mistaken, the current Lucian was still an infant. Indeed, in the eyes of the Konoha ninja, Lucian's actual age was only 6 months. If that wasn't a monster, what was? Creating an abyss with a single slash, killing the Four-Tails Jinchuriki with a glance, and even making you feel a sense of mortal danger. Interesting. Uchiha Madara suddenly felt that his boring life had found a new source of amusement. If Hashirama knew about this, he'd surely make a big fuss. Hey, wait, why am I thinking of that idiot Hashirama again? Damn it, get out of my head. Come back a little later, maybe. Uchiha Madara said faintly, Nagato falling into his hands, might not be a bad thing. 5 comments 0 vote. Chapter 29. The name of the great demon King Lucian. Black Zetsu completely failed to understand Madara's train of thought. Wasn't he afraid that Lucian, seeing a new prize, would just gouge out his Rinnegan? But Black Zetsu had to maintain his disguise as a product of Madara's will, so he couldn't ask too many questions. Too many words lead to too many mistakes. Such a powerful person, besides myself and Hashirama, stands at the pinnacle of the ninja world. Uchiha Madara unconsciously mentioned Hashirama again, his tone quite certain. What is the view from the top like? A kind of lonely solitude. The so-called Rinnegan is definitely not a threat in his eyes, nor would he greedily seize it. That would be a lack of recognition of his own abilities, a self-negation. Meeting Black Zetsu's questioning gaze, Uchiha Madara suddenly smiled. Rather, it's a kind of surprise. Not only will Nagato be fine, but he will also grow even faster. That yearning for an evenly matched opponent is something a black lump like you cannot understand. Black Zetsu. Not everyone is a battle maniac like you. Hearing Madara's words, Black Zetsu truly didn't understand. To hell with opponents. Shouldn't all enemies be nipped in the bud? Next time, don't neglect intelligence gathering again, Black Zetsu. Yes, Lord Madara. Black Zetsu's heart skipped a beat. He had, on a whim, deliberately not reported the intelligence on Lucian. But who knew that Lucian, who was supposed to be a mere brat, would suddenly become so strong, completely losing control of the situation. It made him want to curse. Continue searching for my successor. If you find him, then it will be time. Uchiha Madara looked at his frail body, then erupted with a domineering aura that viewed all creation as ants, filled with intense excitement. What a powerful opponent. Let us dance. Use your death to send me off. Black Zetsu. At a time like this, you're talking about dancing. Noticing the fleeting astonishment in Black Zetsu's eyes, Uchiha Madara snorted coldly. Mere gravel, not even a fraction of my worth. Besides Hashirama, no one has ever made me take them so seriously. You should be proud of that for the rest of your life. Black Zetsu immediately knelt on the ground and shouted, Long live Lord Madara, while mentally plotting to kill Lucian. He would not allow any accidents in his plan. Especially with the Rinnegan near Lucian, it made him unable to rest. After Black Zetsu left, Uchiha Madara was lost in his own thoughts again. Hashirama, I will let you know that I was right. 3 days later. After a few seriously injured Yhwach and Konoha ninja, as well as spies from various villages, escaped from the Land of Rain. The ninja world was in an uproar. An unprecedented uproar. Hanzo was dead. The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki was dead. Thousands were annihilated in a single blow. The Land of Rain had fallen. Not only that, Orochimaru had submitted. Tsunade had been captured. And then came Konoha's wanted poster. Shrank rogue ninja Orochimaru, bounty of 100 million ryo. News like this spread like wildfire throughout the ninja world. The Demon King Lucian, who had shaken the ninja world a few days ago, now had his title upgraded. His name was now, the Great Demon King Lucian. The village's vigilance towards Lucian rose sharply, and he was immediately classified as an SSS-ranked dangerous person. The villages were also doing their best to gather intelligence on Lucian. At the same time, news was released from the Land of Rain. From this day on, the Land of Rain shall be renamed the Wandenreich. Anyone who dares to invade the territory of the Empire shall die. A simple sentence, yet it was filled with the domineering nature of the new empire, or more accurately, the domineering nature of Lucian. While it stunned people, they were also waiting for the reaction of the 5 great nations. Quote. Sniff, sniff, so scary. The third Mizukage admitted defeat. Whether it was true or not, he wasn't getting involved in mainland affairs anyway. When would the village hidden in the mist produce a god of shinobi? Even an Asura of the ninja world would be fine. One must be prepared for danger in times of peace. Who knew if some powerhouse would come to the village hidden in the mist one day and torment them? And indeed, in the original timeline, there was one. He was played to death by an angry Obito. Another god of shinobi. Konoha is truly a cradle of the strong. See. Never be arrogant. Remember that there is always someone better. The kind, muscular third Raikage earnestly taught the future fourth Raikage. The young killer bee was off playing somewhere, and the Eight-Tails Jinchuriki, Blue Bee, was silent. Lately, he had been hearing the Eight-Tails' strange wails, but even the Eight-Tails didn't know why. He was often awakened by nightmares, as if someone wanted to kill him. Don't worry, he won't attack the village hidden in the sand. After all, we're so poor. These were the third Kage's original words, but he spoke them with tears in his eyes. Being poor was an advantage at a time like this. Arg. Die. I want you to die. The third Tsuchikage, Onoki, had gone mad, his eyes bloodshot and filled with killing intent. That was over 2,000 ninja. And the strategic level 4 Tails Jinchuriki. Onoki could not accept this loss. His hatred for Lucian had reached its peak. In the original timeline, to kill the third Raikage, Onoki had gathered over 10,000 Iwagakure ninja and surrounded him for 3 days and 3 nights. He had literally worn him to death. This showed just how ruthless Onoki was. So what if he's strong? Is he as strong as Hashirama Senju? Is he as strong as Uchiha Madara? Even if he is that strong, he still has to die. Onoki gave the order, a mad order. The Tsuchikage's kill order, gather the ninja, and fight Lucian to the death. Quote. Quote. In the Hokage's office, silence. Or rather, Hiruzen Sarutobi was so heartbroken he couldn't even speak. Less than greater than 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 less than greater than. Read advanced chapters on Patreon.com Kaizo 247. Every 150 PS equals bonus chapter. Push the story forward with your power stones. 5 comments 0 vote. Chapter 30. Tsunade faces reality. Tsunade captured. Orochimaru submitted. Even that big idiot Jiraiya had gone crazy and run off to find Orochimaru. What the hell is this about Orochimaru being a hero? How could I not know? Jiraiya, with his intellect, is going undercover. He's going to get himself killed. Sarutobi thought. My heart aches. In the current generation, apart from Tsukumo Hatake, there were no other outstanding ninja. It would be at least 10 years before the geniuses of the next generation could emerge. For a time, Konoha was facing a shortage of talent, a generational gap. That's all for now. Do what you must. Sarutobi was weary, and even more grief-stricken. He had thought that since Lucian had been quiet for 3 months, everything was fine. But who knew that he would pull such a massive stunt out of nowhere? It had shattered all of Sarutobi's psychological defenses. Kill. 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 The clan heads looked at each other. Suddenly, a young man, not even in his 20s, erupted with a terrifying killing intent. 3 consecutive shouts of, kill, made even Hiruzen Sarutobi's heart tremble. Konoha will not be provoked. Lucian must die. Looking at this red-eyed young man, the expressions of the others were strange. 2 months ago, a coup had taken place within the Uchiha clan, stunning everyone. The Uchiha clan head, in his prime, had been overthrown by a young man not yet 20. But the Uchiha were too secretive, no one knew what had happened, but no one dared to underestimate them. What? Am I wrong? Fugaku Uchiha's eyes were sinister. Was awakening the Mangekyo something to be happy about? Every time Fugaku looked at his Mangekyo, he felt a rage that wanted to destroy everything. Oh. Konoha's enemies are not just Lucian. What are you prepared to do? The one who spoke was Danzo Shimura, who was also met with many subtle glances. Everyone knew that Danzo had had his 5 limbs crippled and his right eye destroyed by Lucian. But a month ago, he had fully recovered. Only his hands and right eye were wrapped in bandages, and he walked with more vigor than a young man. Was medical ninjutsu so advanced now? They didn't know if his 5th limb had recovered. And no one dared to ask. Fugaku Uchiha raised his crimson eyes and said coldly, the Uchiha clan has not yet gone to war. If you are afraid of Lucian, my Uchiha clan can act. Insolence. How dare you speak like that? Danzo roared, his killing intent far stronger than Fugaku Uchiha's. His voice was even louder. Have you all forgotten? The village hidden in the sand is at war with Konoha. It has dragged on for so long. Surely the Uchiha will not let this achievement slip by. Fugaku Uchiha snorted coldly and said no more. Seeing this, Sarutobi's headache grew worse. He waved his hand and said, let's solve one problem at a time. First, deal with the village hidden in the sand. As for Lucian, we'll talk about it later. Fugaku's expression grew colder. The others were disappointed but also relieved. Lucian had nothing to lose, but the other great ninja villages were the main issue. At this moment, all the nations and villages were waiting. The village hidden in the mist, no reaction. The village hidden in the sand was watching the show. The village hidden in the cloud was watching the show. Konoha and the village hidden in the stone were enraged. They all made harsh threats. But surprisingly, while Konoha talked a big game, they made no move at all, continuing their heated battle with the village hidden in the sand. They had no intention of sending troops against Lucian. But the village hidden in the stone was very decisive. Rumor had it that the third Tsuchikage, Onoki, was personally leading an army of over 10,000 ninja, marching majestically towards the Wandenreich. For a time, spies from all nations and villages were scattered throughout the border of the Land of Rain. Hiss. Is that the abyss carved out by the Demon King's single slash? It's too terrifying. I thought it was an exaggeration. The reality is even more terrifying than the rumors. Who can withstand that? Has a new god of shinobi been born? Quote. One spy after another exclaimed in shock, their hearts filled with awe. They were not just here to watch the battle, but more to investigate Lucian's abilities, to see if he was as terrifying as the rumors said. But looking at the bottomless, endless abyss, everyone's scalp tingled. For a time, Lucian's status in the hearts of the ninja rose sharply. He had reached a level comparable to the god of shinobi and the asura of the ninja world, and even slightly surpassed them. After all, this was the most recent legend. This is going to be a good show. Apart from the Yhwach spies, the spies from the other villages all smiled. Some village ninja were filled with despair, afraid that the great demon king Lucian would come for them. This is bad. The great demon king Lucian is too strong. Lord Tsuchikage, he can't hold out. The Yhwach spies felt a chill in their hearts. All but one of them immediately rushed back towards the land of Earth. If one person couldn't persuade him, then a group of them would. The spies from the other nations understood. The leaders of the various villages had already decided. If Lucian was truly that strong, the kind who could take on an entire village by himself, then they would issue a public announcement recognizing his status. They would acknowledge the legitimacy of the Wandenreich and list it as the sixth great nation. If the Wandenreich established a ninja village, they would recognize his title of Kage. In short, intelligence was paramount. Hey, Kage. Mukage. Take Kage. And Kage. Remember, my Wandenreich does not need a so-called village chief. Quote. Hearing Lucian's words, everyone was a little confused. So those Kage, in your eyes, are just village chiefs. Huh. It seems that's true. Tsunade, standing below, wanted to retort. After all, being the granddaughter of a village chief didn't sound very impressive. But meeting Lucian's gaze, she felt a chill. This was a demon king who killed without blinking. Tsunade had been awake for 3 days. From the initial anger, fear, helplessness, and confusion when she woke up. It wasn't until Konoha issued the wanted poster that Tsunade faced reality. Shrank Rogue Ninja Tsunade. Bounty of 30 million ryo. Sarutobi's issuance of the wanted poster for Tsunade was originally intended to sever her ties with Konoha. It was also to make Lucian's side not be too cruel to Tsunade. But in Tsunade's eyes, it was different. Less than greater than 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 less than greater than. Read advanced chapters on Patreon.com Kaizo 247. Every 150 PS equals bonus chapter. Push the story forward with your power stones. 3 comments 0 vote. Chapter 31. Lord Lucian is the eternal god. Born into a great clan, she understood darkness and politics even better. Having personally witnessed how powerful Lucian was, in Tsunade's eyes, Konoha was afraid of him. So they had given up on her, indirectly gifting her to Lucian. That's right. The Hokage is now a village chief. Tsunade laughed self-deprecatingly, feeling dejected. To fall from the respected princess of Konoha to a prisoner was a psychological blow that ordinary people could not experience. There was no escaping the Demon King's clutches. Even if Konoha's intentions were good. She could never go back. At that moment, Yahiko walked in. Lord Lucian, a man named Jiraiya is here to see you. He wants to join the Wandenreich and has brought a great gift. Tsunade. Orochimaru. What the hell is Jiraiya up to? Tsunade and Orochimaru were stunned. Is he serious? Is he trying so hard to get into the Demon King's den? That guy isn't here to save me, is he? No, although he's a bit of an idiot, he's definitely not that stupid. Tsunade couldn't understand Jiraiya's thinking at all. Orochimaru. This kid is a lost cause. Oh. A look of interest appeared in Lucian's eyes. He then raised his hand, bring him in. Whether his intentions were true or false, Lucian was in need of talent. Currently, the Wandenreich had not been established, it was just a name. After all, with only a handful of people, Lucian was too embarrassed to found a nation. Lawless with the bodies of mature women, Kushina, Makoto. The three little ones, Konan, Nagato, Yahiko. Apart from Orochimaru, a normal young man, even Tsunade had been semi-coerced into joining. Could such an organization be called an empire? Of course, he could establish one. After all, Lucian had occupied the land of rain, and all the people here were his subjects. But all of that would have to wait until Lucian had bestowed abilities upon his subordinates. He couldn't do everything himself, it would be too damaging to his image. Lord Lucian, is this pressure alright? Behind Lucian's throne, the tall Makoto was massaging his shoulders. Her jade-like face was flushed red, making her look very beautiful. Not bad. Lucian was satisfied. Makoto was indeed gentle. Below, Kushina pouted, muttering something under her breath. The lowly Konan watched secretly, her beautiful, big eyes filled with envy. I want to give Lord Lucian a shoulder massage too, but I'm too small and not strong enough. What kind of person is he? Tsunade was also confused. Lucian was clearly a demon king who killed without blinking. But, what she had seen and heard in the past 3 days had shaken her worldview. An existence like Lucian cared about whether the common people had enough to eat, whether helpless orphans were being cared for, and whether the elderly were displaced. Were these things a demon king should do? It wasn't just talk, he had even personally taken action for the common people. Could you believe such a thing? He seemed cold, but sometimes he would joke with his subordinates and was even indulgent towards them. It made Tsunade feel as if she were seeing the shadow of Hashirama Senju. No. Even her great-grandfather had not been so attentive. After all, Hashirama came from a great clan and simply did not understand the suffering of the common people. Great-grandfather, could a person like this be a bad person? Tsunade fell into a confused silence. If Lucian really did unite the ninja world, then the world would surely be a better place. Lord Lucian is the eternal god. If the three little ones had only admired Lucian's power before, they now respected his character from the bottom of their hearts. Indeed, no one present understood the suffering of the common people better than them. And no one could see more clearly the great aura that made Lucian so different from other ninja, an aura of truly loving the people as his own children. In just a few short days, the three little ones were willing to dedicate their lives to Lucian. Lucian, isn't it normal to care for your subjects? I don't get it. Before long, Jiraiya, who had changed into casual clothes, entered the main hall. Tsunade, Orochimaru, long time no see. Under the bewildered gazes of Tsunade and Orochimaru, Jiraiya smiled and greeted them, then looked at Lucian, staring at him for 2 seconds. He then knelt on one knee and shouted. Lord Lucian, please allow me to introduce myself. I am Jiraiya, an elite Jonin of Konoha, also known as the Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku. I could run at 1, jump at 2, read at 3, dance at 4, cultivate chakra at 5, graduate from the Ninja Academy at 6, at 7. Quote. Watching Jiraiya ramble on, everyone was stunned. Even Lucian didn't know how to react. This guy was truly a character. He went from 1 year old to his 20s without stopping. He even mentioned peeping on a widow bathing at the age of 8. What a guy. Lucian didn't interrupt, just listened quietly. Meanwhile, Tsunade covered her face, and Orochimaru kept giving Jiraiya meaningful looks. Orokin really does care about me. Noticing Orochimaru's gaze, Jiraiya was very happy. His decision was absolutely right. That's right, just like that. Let's work hard for our undercover careers together, Orokin. Finally, Jiraiya's expression turned serious, and he took out 2 scrolls. Lord Lucian, these are 2 scrolls. One is a map of all of Konoha's departments, clans, and various units, along with the specific information I have on Konoha's ninja. The second contains all the ninjutsu I know, including the method for training in Mount Myoboku's sage arts. Less than greater than 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 less than greater than. Read advanced chapters on Patreon.com Kaizo 247. Every 150 PS equals bonus chapter. Push the story forward with your power stones. 13 comments 0 vote. Chapter 32. The three little ones berate Jiraiya. Jiraiya continued, with just these 2 scrolls and my admiration for you, please allow me to follow you. To become a hard-working and uncomplaining soldier under your command, I. Lucian interrupted, alright. Lord Lucian, I am sincere. My admiration for you is like a surging river, endless and overflowing, like the river Styx in flood. Jiraiya was suddenly anxious, but then his eyes widened. Hey, hey, hey. You agreed. It was that simple. Jiraiya was momentarily stunned. The others also found it hard to understand. Jiraiya was clearly trying to be a spy. Who would believe his talk of admiration and worship? Even Orochimaru and Tsunade thought that Jiraiya was a dead man. Not even the Sage of Six Paths could save him. But Lucian seemed completely unconcerned. Lord Lucian, this guy doesn't look like a good person. The three little ones were very anxious. They were afraid that this decision would bring some unforeseen trouble for Lucian. After all, this white-haired uncle looked like a big-mouthed, unreliable villain. Where do I not look like a good person? Jiraiya glared. What unlovable children. Yahiko pouted, from head to toe, you don't. Conan glared, you big villain. Nagato muttered, you white-haired monster. Well, I'll be damned. Jiraiya wanted to hit them. Whose bratty kids are these? It's fine. Lucian found the scene quite amusing. They were master and disciples in the original timeline, but now they couldn't stand the sight of each other. It was too interesting. A betrayal you can see is not frightening. What is truly frightening is a betrayal you cannot see. Lucian spoke calmly, and his words sent a jolt through everyone's hearts. We are willing to dedicate everything to Lord Lucian. Kushina, Makoto, the three little ones, and Orochimaru immediately declared their oaths. Seeing this, Tsunade felt that if she didn't do something, it would be difficult for her to get by in the future. She immediately knelt on one knee and shouted as well. Jiraiya didn't need to be told, he shouted louder than anyone. Lucian nodded in satisfaction, not caring whether his subordinates were sincere or not. Trust and reliance have the same meaning, they are the actions of the weak. To him, they were meaningless. Conan, go and add another cup. Yes, Lord Lucian. Watching Conan turn and leave, the others could only stand and wait, looking at each other. Especially Orochimaru, Jiraiya, and Tsunade. They looked at each other and finally fell silent. Kushina couldn't help but ask, Lord Lucian, when will we establish the nation? Without establishing a nation, things were not official, like now. There were no messengers, the titles were a mess, the status of the subordinates was uncertain, and there was chaos everywhere. Also, calling Lucian, Lord. It didn't reflect Lucian's noble status at all. Lucian said softly, you have such worries too. We'll talk about it after I have bestowed power upon you. Power. Yahiko and Nagato were full of pleasant surprise. Orochimaru's heart was about to leap out of his chest. Tsunade and Jiraiya exchanged a look, a strange sense of anticipation filling them. This was power bestowed by Lucian. It was likely that set of powers that was completely different from chakra, something that no one in the ninja world understood. After all, the unknown was equivalent to death. No one wanted to face an enemy full of unknowns. Conan was quick. Everyone looked over and saw Conan carrying a tray with 6 cups of sake on it. It was exactly for the 6 people who had not yet received power. Even I get one. What confidence. Jiraiya's heart grew heavier. Lucian was not afraid of anyone knowing his power. What confidence. Pucci. To everyone's surprise, Lucian cut his finger, and drops of crimson blood flowed out. Under the control of his spiritual power, the blood dripped into the 6 cups of wine respectively. 1 cup each. Bear with it. The process is a bit painful. Drinking blood wine. A power inheritance. The 3 little ones didn't think much of it and obediently drank it down. But Orochimaru and the other 2 realized a terrifying point. Powerhouses like Kushina and Makoto could be mass-produced by Lucian. Who could stand against that? Hiss. After drinking the blood wine, the 6 of them all felt the pain of their souls being torn apart, as if they were being cut by 1,000 blades. Seeing this, Kushina smiled. Go on, cry out. Can't you even bear this little bit of pain? I was smiling the whole time. It was a breeze. Really? I don't believe you. Hearing this, the 6 of them all clenched their teeth and tried their best to remain calm. But, are you kidding? To be able to smile through that kind of pain, are you a pervert? Makoto also said with a straight face, was it really that painful? Why did I feel as comfortable as if I were soaking in a hot spring? The 6 of them. Are we being treated differently? It really hurts. The corner of Lucian's eye twitched. These 2 girls were becoming more and more devious. Infuse. The 6 who had just been converted into Quincy needed Lucian to infuse them with spiritual power and spiritual pressure to master their abilities as quickly as possible. The 3 little ones' bodies were too small, they also needed to grow up quickly. Quickly, with Lucian's help, the six completed their transformation and mastered their abilities. The three little ones had also grown to the appearance of 18 or 19-year-olds. Since the three of them had initially changed into clothes made of spirit particles, the clothes had also grown with them. Two handsome young men, and a stunningly beautiful young woman with long, light blue-purple hair. Tall and beautiful, with a cute expression mixed with a cold demeanor, she was quite to Lucian's liking. The grown-up Conan was truly amazing. To everyone, including Kushina and Makoto, Lucian had bestowed upon them spiritual power equivalent to an elite Jonin and extremely strong spiritual pressure, so they wouldn't have to spend time training from scratch. The rest was up to them to practice. This was an unknown to any ninja.